The following podcast is dedicated to sonic excellence.
Mary had a little man.
Fun with sound.
Donk. Hello and welcome to the Pop Donk Podcast, a beginner's guide to sound design. Come on, let's have some fun.
Rolling on episode 8, Belch with Sigh. Let's talk EQ.
Welcome everyone to Parp Donk. This is our oh-so-special 8th episode of the podcast. And I'm Amanda.
I'm Jim.
I'm John.
And for the first time ever, we have a guest on the podcast.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Derr.
Please welcome Dave Derr. Thank you so much for being here, Dave.
Oh, my pleasure, my honor.
And what do you do, Dave?
And where are you from? Well,
It depends on who you talk to. I own Empirical Labs. We make audio recording equipment, most notably the Distressor. And we're in North New Jersey, just a hop, skip away from New York City.
And a hop skip away from us, too, where we currently are. So maybe next time you come on, you can come in person.
Face to face.
Yeah, wow.
So
We'll do shots.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards. Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about EQ and compression, which, Dave, we know are your bread and butter. I don't know which one is the bread and which one is the butter, but maybe you can speak to that.
Sure. I would say the bread is definitely compression and the butter is the EQ.
I'm so glad that you had the answer right away, prepared. So yeah, let's just start out with talking about EQ and what it is. What is EQ? What do we mean when we say EQ?
EQ's been around since probably the 40s. And basically it means equalization, although in reality it's actually the opposite. Equalization means even in a general term, but in the audio world, EQ means you actually push certain frequencies up or push certain frequencies down, and you're shaping the actual frequency response gets changed from what is flat. So the original use for this was intelligibility. Way back in the radio days, often the microphones and stuff would lose high end. So the first use was probably clearing that up, adding some high frequencies, maybe cutting noise in a little bit places, but generally you're shaping the frequency response.
Right, and a lot of people did use it for trying to cut noise. That was like, well, because in the days of radio, that was a serious problem with the radio transmission, right?
Oh yeah, and fortunately technology's gotten rid of a lot of the unwanted noises and stuff, but still, people like to have the voice sound good or big, and like on TV, a lot of times the announcers will add low end to the male guys to make their voice sound a little boomier.
The voice of God.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Balls McManus is what.
Right, our fictional macho voiceover is named Balls McManus.
Okay.
And he doesn't need EQ.
He would come in for the sessions like, I'm Balls McManus, I'm here for the session.
Yo.
Yeah. Okay, Balls, I have a seat over there. I have two seats over there. Right, so, yeah. Anyway.
I could use a harmonizer to take my voice down a little bit.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you guys, John and Jim, when you are working with voice, how often do you use EQ?
Every day.
Every single time? Yeah. You never encounter a voice that doesn't need it?
I mostly do post, so it's more EQ. With mic positioning and music, you could probably get away with less EQ, but post, especially on voice, you want it to cut.
Yeah, you still use a lot of EQ in voices and music.
Yeah.
I think it's I always call it hyper reality. The objective of recording used to be to try to get reality.
Right.
Try to make the source waveform look exactly like the recorded waveform. If you put them over each other, and if you switch a phase on, they would cancel. That was the original idea. But these days, you're
No.
really you're really trying to take the real sound and just make it like superhuman. You know?
You want to make it sound better than real
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, we've past when we talk about making things sound natural, like we don't want natural, we want sound superhuman and amazing, unrealistically.
So what kind of EQs are there?
There's actually tons of more and more every year, tons of types of EQs. The first ones were just what they call, your tone controls, which you boosted the high frequencies or you boosted the low frequencies. The first circuit was called the Box and Doll circuit, named after a man who was in the radio world. And basically, it was still a very useful EQ. Just have highs and lows. You either want more low frequencies bass or more high frequencies treble. And then we came up with all kinds of more detailed EQs. Graphic, which you guys have seen, it has the many faders, and the whole frequency world is split up into, typically 8 to 32 bands, 31 bands of EQ. So you could boost and cut, all over the place, the very specific frequencies. And this was a favorite for live sound because you could probably pull out the feedback frequencies with one of the faders. So live sound guys still use that. Then we have parametric, which George Massenburg created in the late 70s, early 80s. That is where all the parameters of frequency are controllable. By that I mean the actual frequency. What frequency are you boosting or cutting? That 100 hertz.
Yeah, what year was
200
that? What year was that, Dave?
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I'm
just
guessing.
Decade.
It was.
He said 70s, 80s.
Yeah, it was late 70s, but I believe, late 70s. I think it's actually in the model number. If you look for his model number on his first parametric, I believe that is the date. In other words, if it's 8300, that would mean 83.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't know. off
So
the
were
bat.
you guys all learning how to use that when it was brand new?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Because you could just change the Q on it, which is the best on the parametric. Remember
Yeah,
that?
right. Yeah, you were able to narrow the frequency band that it was covering.
Yep.
Or
For the
widen
first
it.
time.
Yeah.
And it was great. Yes, because you can really get more surgical than to graphic, like you said, or just straight tone control. So
Yeah, absolutely. Then you have, nowadays, there's all kinds of permutations of that. There's, for instance, some people put a compressor circuit, or in other words, most common use is DS. You basically take all the high frequencies and turn them down when an S comes through.
All right.
That was the first really popularly used dynamic EQ. And that's still to this day, obviously everybody in the industry knows about de-essing, because if you crank up high frequencies, those really get annoying. We also have, again, linear phase is a new thing. Became really only possible with digital technology, digital audio, although you can do it in analog. But generally, it's a new thing that's really popular in digital. And then there's all kinds of permutations. Mid-side. Mid-side, it allows you to, in stereo sources, tailor the things subjectively. For instance, you can make the signal sound like it's wider out the sides. In other words, the sources are farther apart. Or you can make them sound more mono towards the center.
Right. Yeah. You can. Mid-side is great. I use mid-side a lot when I'm mixing music with voice, and I'll take the music and I'll use the frequencies that are kind of in the same range with the voice. I'll mid-side that frequency band, and then I'll make it a dynamic EQ so that when the person is singing or speaking, the music will actually dip a little bit, but only at that frequency.
Oh, very good.
And only in the middle. So you can still run either side, like fairly loud.
So you generally don't dynamically control the middle in that mode?
Yeah, I would control the middle frequency.
Oh, just the middle.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just the middle. Yeah. And then the sides will just kind of still be pretty loud.
That's great. Yeah, and you can do that so that it's not noticeable to, like it would be noticeable if you didn't do it.
Yeah, you won't notice it because your mind fills in the...
Yeah, so there's a frequency range, and when you have many instruments and voice and stuff, you try to carve out places for these things to sit.
Yes.
If they're all on top of each other, it becomes kind of messy. So that's what John's trying to do.
You guide the ear to, towards what it needs to listen
you
to.
make a
at
place
any
for it
second.
to sit. So EQs.
And of course, in the modern age, with all this digital DSP, which is digital signal processing, they have stuff that will do that automatically for you. In other words, there's a few plugins out there, I won't mention any names, but basically you can put your stereo source into 2 channels, into a device, put your voice into a 3rd channel, and basically say, okay, I want the voice to make the music duck out of the way or re-EQ. And this stuff is now, again, learning curve, but once you get it down, it pretty much does everything for you, keeping frequencies out of each other's way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
The beauty and the curse of digital.
Right. The stuff we had to learn. The stuff we had to learn. Now you can.
You can just do.
Speaking of digital, that you came out of digital, right? You came out of
Eventide.
Eventide, yeah, the digital company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the luckiest things in my life was getting a job at Eventide in the mid '80s. I was always a musician in a band, and I actually got my first electronic job. Met a guy in Radio Shack.
R.I.P.
I know. They say it might come back, but we'll see.
Really?
But anyway, he said his company was nearby in Philadelphia, and the guy had actually seen the band I was in, so he knew that I was into the music. And anyway, make a long story short, I got a first job there at a medical company, and then saw an ad for Eventide looking for an engineer, and I said, well, I'm not an engineer, but perhaps I could play one here at this company.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and I was really very lucky. Richard Factor actually called me in and gave me a job, took pity on me actually, and gave me a job, and I was one of the luckiest breaks I ever had because I had worked with great people, people from Sound Toys now.
Sound.
So I worked alongside really legitimate engineers.
Eventide was one of the first companies to really make.
It was.
Awesome, the awesome. Remember this? What do we have? The
910.
Well, just the harmonizer.
Remember we had the harmonizer.
The harmonizer changed everything.
So again, in post,
it did.
The harmonizer was the one thing that, if it was 35 seconds long, you could make it 30 seconds long, right? Remember Tom had that?
The delay.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the thing. Was it the H? Remember the one that always you had to hit?
Yeah, the H910.
Yeah, the 910. We had to hit because it would glitch, and the tech would come in and he wouldn't take it apart. It'd hit the top of it.
And there was the 949 too, but they all got steadily more reliable.
Yeah.
It was crazy technology back then, I mean,
the great trick on those was to take the harmonizer, the stereo one, and just to the left, you would pan it left and right, and then you'd have your vocal in the middle, and then you would just detune, because that's what it did. It detuned the vocals. And you would just detune the left side so that the number would flicker between 0 and 1.
Yep.
And then you'd take the right side and wait and do the same thing, only you'd go positive with that.
Right.
And suddenly the vocal would just spread across the entire
imaging,
stereo field. Yeah.
Very interesting.
There's a first vocal doubling, really.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, Eventide, I felt... I can remember because we did record in the bands and stuff, and I remember going into a studio, and if they had a harmonizer from Eventide, they were good. They were going to be a good studio.
It was legit, right? That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, they weren't cheap then when they first came out, I remember.
No, and it was amazing technology back then. You don't have the ease of, you didn't have actual DSP chips, like a single chip that could do everything. You had to build it kind of from scratch, which is why they... quite complex.
And they're still making great stuff too.
Was that the Bucket Brigade thing, or was that?
That was a DDL for radio.
Oh right.
Eventide. Richard Factor was always very interested in broadcasts and among other things, and they made a DDL so that you could delete out curse words. So you would have maybe a 3 to 6 second delay.
Oh, I see.
Somebody would curse, and you said, "Okay, I got 6 seconds. I'll push this button. It'll block out that curse word."
The dump button. That's what we call it in radio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dump.
The
Exactly.
dump-
I think
dump
actually that might be a created word from Eventide.
Really?
Yeah, I think they had
That's-
that on a device or two.
That sounds
But
so
yeah.
British, doesn't it? Well, you dump out of it.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's funny. My wife and I have been watching all kinds of British shows and just loving them. We used to watch Doc Martin, but lately we've been watching what's the soccer coach?
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, yeah.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
we just love it. The British isms obviously are a big part of it. But yeah,
Well,
Well,
you want to talk about
like
Tom?
dump. So the three of us.
I'll be right back.
Right. Speaking of, the three of us come from Clack Studios, run
Okay.
by Tom Clack, who was my stepfather,
Wow.
who passed away in 2022.
I'm
And
sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you.
Was that COVID related?
It was not. He had
good.
different illnesses, but. And he had been retired for quite a while, of course. He would have been
Okay.
85 last week, actually.
Wow.
But, you know, I mean,
he was British.
he was British.
He was
Yeah.
British.
Okay.
And the best boss ever.
Yeah,
And the
he-
best boss ever. And yeah, his name, Clack, was, of course, an onomatopoeia.
Yep.
But at being British, he was extremely scatological. I don't know if you've encountered this with other English men
Yeah,
and women that
yeah.
you know, but you know, bathroom humor was huge with him, and a lot of the culture of the sound studio revolved around it, kind of
It was
necessarily.
so fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great vocal Foley artist too.
Yeah,
so
he loved to make fart
he
sounds.
farts sound, puke
and-
sounds.
Yep.
But if you ever watch Dumb and Dumber, and the bathroom scene, I don't know,
Okay.
you ever seen that where they take?
I did a long time ago.
So he made that.
Oh, that's
and
great.
they stole it from him. Actually,
was-
episode 10 of this podcast is just all about that. So,
Getting ripped off.
yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
just how he made it and
how
what he
he-
made it
yeah.
for, and then that stories behind it, and because it grew underground, and you know you hear it in
It got
studios.
passed. It was one of those tapes that got passed from studio to studio.
Yeah,
You know, it's
so.
and it's just the biggest shit ever. The name of it is The Biggest Bowel Movement, Bar None.
That's right. That's right.
Anyhow, so you'll have to listen to episode 10, which will be out in January. So
That sounds good.
yeah, it's fun. So
And now, a word from Parpdonk.
This November, it's time for a change. State Assemblyman Steve Parpdonk has your interests at heart. Is your family keeping up with ever-escalating taxes? The price of donk? The price of parp? Like so many families, the struggle you feel is real. Vote to make Steve Parpdonk our next governor, and let's make this state better. Together.
I'm Steve Parpdonk, and I approve this message.
anyhow, back on where were we?
So yeah, mic proximity is something that you need to take into account before you even do EQ, right? Or EQ can fix things that, you know, a bad mic position
Yeah.
creates, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, there's a big part of recording is doing as little as you can EQ and processing wise and still getting the great sound. So the first step towards that is putting the mic in the right position, or mics in the right position. And typically with vocals, you know, you either move the mic closer to get more low end, called proximity effect, or you move the mic further away, which the low end starts to fade, and you get more high and mid frequencies. So that's your first step, is getting the mic in the optimal position.
Yeah, and there's some microphones that are just famous for that, right? Like the RE20.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Yep.
it's the way the mic is designed with the ports on the side and
Yeah.
everything. I mean,
almost like a speaker.
Do you know why that happens?
The proximity effect?
Yeah.
Yeah, as you get closer, when you move away from a mic, you become more of a point source in relation. In other words, from one little spot, your voice seems like it's emanating because the mic's further away. And if you look at the number of degrees that your voice is emanating from, as you get away from the mic, it becomes a point source. So it looks to the mic, you just become a point of where the sound is coming from. As you get closer, your mouth has 3 inches of width to it. As you get closer, that starts to become less of a point source. And what happens is the frequencies coming out of the side of your mouth will cancel frequencies from the other side, etc. And basically, it's the loss of high frequencies as they cancel each other out from being close.
Oh, and because you're getting closer to the mic, it sounds like you're emphasizing the bass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's the other thing too. As you know, when air does some filtering also. So as you get closer to things, generally you always get more low end, more bass, and that's the other part of that equation.
That's pretty cool.
That's great for it, just in terms of not only vocals, but like guitar amps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, some people just have their way of miking up stuff. They just jam a mic right up to the guitar cabinet, right?
Yep.
And that still works a lot of the time. But the real pros can actually. I was amazed the first session I worked with a major engineer, and we were fussing with the mic. We basically had a sound that we thought was okay, and he came in and just moved the mics fractions of inch, well, maybe an inch or two, and it was a whole different thing. So,
yeah,
positioning of mic, very important.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really amazing, the variety that you can get.
It's a skill. It's definitely a skill.
Yeah.
And again too, you can fix a lot of that stuff with equalization processing later on, but it's always best to get that mic in a position that you really like the sound to start with.
Which is true in recording and post especially. The better it starts out, the easier it is for you.
Yeah. Well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the same in all recording.
Yeah.
If the source is great, it's almost effortless to get to the end product.
I think Clack told me the shit rolls downhill. So
Yeah.
if it starts bad and you're at the bottom of the hill, that's the place you don't want to be.
Yep.
So.
Another expression that I love that I've heard from audio engineers is you can't polish a turd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting better, and technology's getting a little easier to polish turds.
Sometime we'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
In the near
and
future.
put a golden sheen on it as well.
Yeah.
By 2030, we are going to have golden turds across the board. So yeah, pretty soon we're going to be segueing into talking about compression. But Dave, I just want to hear more about your personal approach to EQ and what inspired you to create your own EQ in Empirical.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you're an audio company, a lot of it is about having a versatile product line. And even though I created, little home projects and stuff with parametrics and EQs of different types, we said I always wanted to make one EQ, pack a whole bunch in to a small single height 19-inch rack mount unit and be useful for people on the road, people in the studio, home studio, recordists. So we made the Little Freak. And basically, I forget how many sections I should know off the top of my head. But
is Willie there?
Right I have one right in front of me. I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections of EQ in there, including a DS, a dynamic section. So we fit a whole bunch of stuff into this, what we call the Little Freak. And then when we started in the plugin world, we said, well, we got to keep that. The logical complement is a digital plugin EQ. So we created the Big Freak. And basically, it's the same approach, but slightly different processing. I don't like direct copies or clones. I avoid them. We'll be influenced tremendously by other people, but we, at least not so far, put out an attempted copy, or what they call a clone of something. So even with our own equipment, when we made the Big Freak, we had a lot of the sections like we have in the Little Freak hardware, but we took a turn here and there and changed it up so it's not an actual clone of our hardware.
And what were those changes?
Well, we could first of all offer a whole, and we weren't the inventor of it, but a flat top shape, which is basically, when you do it with what they call a peaking equalizer, you boost, say, 100 hertz, you have a point at the top, and that's your peak. And what we do, and we didn't invent it again, but basically you can spread out that peak. So it's not a peak, it's more of a flat point, adjusting the frequencies around it, pulling those up also, which is really, we found very, very useful. You can actually use less EQ without getting unnatural sounding. You have to watch, of course, there's downsides to everything. But when you flatten the top out just a little bit, you end up pulling up frequencies near your center frequencies. And we always found that less EQ because, again, usually when you're EQing something, it's not just one frequency you want to get at. You want to get at a general area. So what they call, I call it flat top, but really the control in the digital world is called slope. And basically it allows you to flatten out that top a little bit. I'll send you guys some pictures to illustrate
awesome.
that.
Yeah. If you look at a normal kind of EQ curve, they look like bells.
Yep. Exactly.
But yours kind of looks like a plateau almost.
And again, we did not invent that. It was patented as a. Not even as an equalizer technically, but it was called a band shelf. So the shelf is the flat part up top. And I believe a company called Eiosis and also Fab Filter. I believe those were the two first commercially available, what I call flat top EQs.
Yeah, but it's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
It can almost bring you to a linear phase thing too. Does it help with the phase in between bands? EQs, when you're using different bands, there's a certain area that's an overlap, and you get phase things going on, right?
Yes, all the time. But no, the flat top does not necessarily help with the phase.
Okay.
But if it allows you to use less bands, because again, you can spread out the frequencies affected, then less bands will help with the phase.
Right.
But and somebody's going to shoot me eventually for this, but I don't really worry, and I think most pro engineers do not worry about phase as much. It's all about the end result. So if they hear something that sounds phasey, then you start to worry and find out where that is from. But generally, they don't turn up a band and go, I wonder what the phase is like. You just use your ears in the long run, and almost anybody you talk to will tell you the end result is what should be your final goal and criteria.
That guitar sounds great.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just use your ears is another engineer.
Just use your ears. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and again, there's all kinds of phase linear EQs and stuff like that. And for me, and by the way, first of all, if you're talking about knowing how to get great sounds and being a good engineer, you really want to talk to a great engineer, somebody who's probably won some Grammys and stuff. I was always a third-rate recording engineer, but I've been in the business a long time, so I can generally answer questions. But the guys that actually get the hit records, those are the guys that you want to talk to and find out what they do, how they treat things over and over. So, and often there's no paradigm. Often there's no standard route they go to for a guitar sound. But a pro engineer be able to guide you better than I will. But I'll put my 2 cents in anyway.
Most of them do have your products, Dave. Most of the top rate, world-class engineers do use Empirical Labs stuff.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky there. I'm not particularly religious, but I don't discourage it. But I was so lucky to have our first product, the Distressor, literally became a hit. And that made it so easy for us, because usually people do one product, they don't have any money in, they took a loan out to make that, they'll do a second product, and maybe the third product they'll hit and they'll actually break even. So I count my blessings that our first product, took off. So
Yeah, and it took off in a big way.
It did.
Thank you so much, Dave and Jim and John. Let's go ahead and wrap up episode 8 now. In episode 9, we will present part 2 of our interview with Dave Derr of Empirical Labs, and we will talk about compression.
And stay tuned, because we've got a very, very special episode coming up in a couple of episodes from this one. I think you're really going to like it. What do you think, Jim?
It's going to be the finale, and it's going to cover something that we all
Do.
do.
Hey, you said do.
Yeah.
As if that wasn't enough of a hint,
Wink.
we will be talking about the shit tape, also known as the biggest bowel movement bar none, Tom Clack's masterpiece. So yeah, you're not going to want to miss that.